Hello everyone, and thank you so much for joining us on our Rise and Shine program. It's your boy Troy Gill, and of course you know how we do it. We have a fitness professional, Chris Williams, who's going to be leading us into a workout this morning to get your heart pumping, get your blood flowing, get you ready to start your day. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Promoters, here is a chance to boost your event or fete with MTV's irresistible television advertising specials. Book now and be wowed with party deals and good advertising coverage. Call our sales and marketing department on 440-8171 or via WhatsApp on 405-5718. You can also send an email at mtvmarketinggd@gmail.com. Terms and conditions apply.
All right, everybody, good morning. So we're at it again. Hope you have your dumbbells. If you don't have dumbbells, get a little bottle of water. Anything you could put in your hand so that we can get into this exercise this morning. So our legs are going to be wide. We're going to rock back and forth. Reach. Four, three, two, one, up. Four, three, two, one, pull. Four, three, two, bounce. Keep it low. 4, 3, 2, curl. 4, 3, 2, bounce again. You want to feel it in the legs. Hold it there, curl. Four, three, two, one. Dumbbells on your shoulders. Reach the leg. Out. Four, three, two, one. Push. Four, three, two, one. Up. Push. Four, three, two, alternate, let's go. Push. Up. Four, three, two, one. Back down, right here. Pull. Four, three, two, one. Bring your feet together. Hands down. So we're gonna fly up. So you're turning your hand like you're pouring out milk. Right here. Let's go. Up. Slow. Up. 3, 2. We're gonna go faster with a step. Push. Four, 3, 2, 1. We're going to slow it down again. Up. Let's go. Stand tall. Right here. Right here. Let's go. 4, 3, 2, 1 with a step again, faster. Four, 3, 2, 1, punch it out. Twist, come on. To the roof. Back down. To the roof. Back down. 4, 3, 2, 1. Both dumbbells up, push forward. Push. 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 4, 3, 2, faster. Four, 3, 2, 1. We're going to take the dumbbells, place the dumbbells down, legs wide, and we're going to pulse again. 4, 3, 2, 1. Side to side. Reach the hands. Keep it going. 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it in. Step. Four, 3, 2, 1. Wide again. Keep it going, come on. 4, 3, 2, 1. Step. Four, 3, 2, 1. Pick up your dumbbells. Turn right here. Dumbbells down. Going down. 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 4, 3, 2, 1. Back down. Pulse. Bring it to the center. Pulse. Turn. Pulse. Four, 3, 2, 1. Hands up. Curl. Come on. Shoulders burning, biceps burning. Let's go. 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch sides. Four, 3, 2, 1. Up. Push. Push. Come on. 4, 3, 2, 1. Take your dumbbells. Place your dumbbells down. So I want you to slow step. Bring the heart rate down. 4, 3, 2, 1. Legs wide, down, pull it in, stretch. So you want to straighten your legs, reach all the way through. Over to the right side. To the left side. Turn, reach down. Place your hands up. Next side. Down. Hands up. Down. Bring it back to the center. Roll. Fold your hands and roll. Back and forth. Now you're going to come up. Roll the back. 4, 3, 2. All the way up. Lean back on it. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hands across the chest. Next side. Reach. Reach. Now we're going to go up and down. Up again. Up. Down. We're going to do a big one. Up. Reach up to the sky. Hold it on your toes. Deep breath. Bring it down hard. Give yourself a round of applause. Thank you very much for joining us. Hope you have a pleasant day.
All right, guys, so that was fitness professional Chris Williams leading us into a workout to get your heart pumping, get your blood flowing, get you ready to start your day. All right, guys, I just want to encourage you again, make sure that you're making healthy choices. Also, remember to stay hydrated. Thanks again for joining us, guys. See you again next time. Hello everyone, and thank you so much for joining us on our Health Matters program, where we discuss health matters, of course, because your health matters. I am your host, Troy Gill, and today we are going to be speaking with Executive Secretary at the Grenada Food and Nutrition Council, Ms. Lydia Brown, and we are going to be talking about the healthy approach to managing your weight. Thank you so much for joining us on the program this morning.
Thank you for having me.
All right. And so we want to get a little bit deeper into today's topic, the healthy approach to managing your weight, because usually around this time of the year, you have a lot of people, taking that approach to losing weight because they want to get ready for the summer, for the August and so on. And there is a lot of different approaches to diet, different styles, different fads in circulation. One of the more popular ones is a keto diet, and then you have intermittent fasting and so on. And for somebody, especially those with non-communicable diseases, I know that may be a kind of you have to be very careful, right, that you don't cause your situation to get worse. And I know that the council also offers meal plans and advice with regards to that. So can you share with us a little bit as to what the council actually, some of the services in that regard that the council actually provides?
Well, the council, the Food and Nutrition Council, is so fortunate to have a cadre of nutritionally well-trained individuals. Right. We have maybe 4 or 5 nutritionists, and then myself as a dietitian. We offer counseling services to persons on many different, let me step back a little bit. Mm-hmm. You know that many of the diseases that are affecting us here in Grenada and even worldwide, the foundation or the root cause is poor nutrition. Now, there are some diseases that are not nutrition. Nutrition is not the driving factor, but there's still a nutrition component when it comes to management or even prevention of some of them. Mm-hmm. So the council actually works with people in the communities and in the public health clinics to advise them on preventive as well as management of their diseases. At the council, we also have a component there where we see persons and are able to give a one-to-one individual counseling. And we do prepare meal plans, as you say, but sometimes people would come to us, or they may call and say, can you send me a meal plan? Or they may come in and say, well, I want a meal plan. And sometimes from a nutritional standpoint, from a professional standpoint, a meal plan isn't always needed in the initial stages. People may think that if I have a meal plan, I'll be able to follow it and so. But sometimes you have to take smaller steps towards what you're trying to achieve before you get to the point of making a meal plan. A meal plan is also very individualized. So we don't have a stack of meal plans and when a person comes in, we hand them one. It's not like that. We have to be able to interact with that individual and get their information. What are they currently doing, and to see what we can do to change it. We don't just give you a plan and this is what you go home and do, because I remember some years ago, my sister, one of my sisters was diagnosed with diabetes, and she called me that afternoon and she was petrified because they gave her a meal plan, as you call it, and there was chicken on there and there was, you know, eggs on there, and the only meat she has ever eaten from childhood is fish and beef. Don't touch chicken, don't touch eggs, none of that. And she's like, what am I supposed to eat? I think that if you sit with an individual and you're able to explain to them different foods, how different foods affect them and so, and then they know how to interchange foods, so that if I gave you chicken and you don't eat chicken, you know exactly what to choose and how much, you know, the proportion in which you need to choose. I think it's so much more important to empower someone to be able to make that informed decision for themselves.
Wow. So it's a kind of a dangerous practice to just give someone a generic meal plan without actually engaging with them.
Yes, I think so, and it's not recommended. It's not recommended that you do that, because the fallout from that is probably more likely than someone who has actually had something that is tailored for them, tailored based on what they're currently doing, and just tweaking it so that they know, okay, it's not that you can't have this, you can have it, but this is how you can have it. That type of system, I think, is better for someone to continue to keep on track with that than just giving them a plan that was made for somebody 15 years ago and you know, expecting them to carry it out. Most of the foods on there may not be foods that they particularly eat. Are you sending them to the grocery store with their meal plan? I like to look at what people are doing now, what they have available to them, what they're easily able to access, and working that into their meal plan, so that when you give them something, you know that is something that they can actually work with, and it's not going to strain the pocket or that type of
because there's that cost factor involved as well.
The cost factor is in there.
Okay. So can you share with us a little more about the process? So once somebody engages a counsel, what's the next step?
Okay. So when someone comes in, usually, and let me not say usually, sometimes they come in with a referral from the physician. We have a lot of people. I dare to say that so far this year, the most people that I've seen have been self-referred.
Okay.
So, but we do have some doctors that do work very closely with us, and the doctor would send, let us know what the diagnosis, the medical diagnosis is. They would let us know what the laboratory factors are that, you know, goes with that diagnosis, and then they would give us an idea as to what it is I'm asking you to do. If someone comes in with, for themselves, if they call and we would usually say, do you have recent blood work, even if they're coming in for weight management? Do you have a recent blood work? Please bring it in when you're coming, because a lot of people don't realize that when you train as a dietitian and nutritionist, you also are trained to look at particular blood work. Not every blood work we look at, but there are certain things that we look at, and we're able to interpret it from a nutritional standpoint, from a health standpoint, so that we're able to make the appropriate decisions for that person. We would actually, of course, want to know the person's current status, their weight, their height, that type of thing. We also want to know what is the history. What is your weight history? How long ago? You know, what's a normal weight for you? How long ago have you been that weight? Okay, so or the current, this is your weight today. I don't know what my weight history is. Have you been gaining weight? You must know. By the way your clothes fit, you know. When you look in the mirror, you know if you're gaining weight, right? So we're able to get that idea. What do you think some of the factors are? What do you currently eat? Take me through a typical day. Tell me what is your typical style of eating. Okay, most people might give you the meals, but then you have to delve in a little more to find out what is the between meals, what is added to this. So I eat a piece of bread. When you say a piece of bread, what do you mean? You know, so because sometimes people feel that they're eating very little. But when you as a nutritionist actually ask the appropriate questions, you're really able to get an idea as to what this person is actually doing. And then we're able, depending on what it is, we're able to, if it's for weight management or diabetes or something, we're able to actually let those people, let's just take weight management. Can take weight management. So we're actually able to show people what is considered a normal measurement of food. And sometimes when they hear that, they're like, oh my God, that's what I'm expected to eat. No, that's not what you're expected to eat. We're looking at what is a normal serving. But an individual may have to eat 2 servings or 3 servings in a meal. But when they hear the 1 serving, it's like, there's no way I can do that. Yes, you can do it when you're given how much of it will make your quota for what you need to help you to lose weight, to help you to maintain weight, to help you to maintain your muscle mass. Because you want weight loss, but you actually want to lose fat and hold on to your muscles. If you get sick, you want to be able to have those muscles there to help you sustain yourself. You don't just want to be bone and skin, you know? So we look at a lot of different things in terms of developing the plan, but more so from my take as a professional, and a professional for many years, is getting someone to really understand what it entails in eating normally, because we have a lot of distortion in terms of food portions, and so that has happened over the years.
I know sometimes a lot of people, they they have these beliefs, and sometimes I think sometimes it might be a little bit over the top without that kind of advice. So for instance, like there's this concept about sugar and removing sugar completely from the diet and so on. How much of a safe practice is that? Because I'm assuming that you would need some advice before you just completely remove sugar, because I believe that sugar is going to contribute to an increase in diabetes and so on. So what's the approach as with regards to sugar, and some people again say carbs, remove certain carbs from your food, but in terms of how do you approach the measurements and
Okay, so in regards to sugar does not cause diabetes. That's the first.
Exactly. So that is a misconception.
Yes, a misconception. Right. Sugar itself would not make you get diabetes. However, if you're eating a lot of sugar, and you're not physically active to burn off, because sugar is carbohydrates, and carbohydrates is the first line of energy that the body reaches to for use. So if you're having a lot of sugar in your diet and you're not really using it up, your body is going to convert some of that sugar to fat. The body can store some sugar, and it will show, so your liver will store some as glucose, and your muscle will store some. Fat cells don't really store glucose to that. It's not as responsive to insulin and so. So when you're not able to eat, the body has to do something else with that sugar. It's not supposed to come in your urine. And for persons who are old enough, they would remember when we used to do the dipstick to see whether there's sugar in your urine, and it's not supposed to be there, right? So the body has to do something with the sugar. So it's going to convert it to fat. We look at carbohydrates, and it's carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. And we look at fat, and it's carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. It's just the way the chemical makeup is. You have your proteins, which are carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, and there's a nitrogen on there. So your body can actually convert that carbohydrate very easily to fat. Why? Because it can store fat. Okay. And we know, if we walk the street, if we look at ourselves, we know that the body can store fat. So, and it can store fat in endless amount until the body just can't take any more of it. So when you eat an excessive amount of sugar, not just sugar but carbohydrates, then your body makes that conversion, and so you end up with excess weight. Now, if you already have the propensity to develop diabetes and you're eating a lot of sugar, yes, because sugar is a two molecule, has two, is only two sugars that come together to make what we call sugar, table sugar, glucose and fructose. And so your body breaks it down very easily. So it gets into your bloodstream very easily. And so you may have the propensity to convert earlier than someone who doesn't have a family history, is physically active, you know, that type of thing. So eating an excess amount of sugar as well as carbohydrates, but in particular the simpler sugars, then you will, you know, you increase your risk. But sugar in itself is not going to cause diabetes.
Okay.
So do we need sugar in the diet? No. We do not need sugar. We do not need brown sugar. We do not need white sugar in the diet. The simple reason for that is because you have starches, which are carbohydrate molecules that have more than two of those components put together.
Okay.
So you have the starches, and when they break down in the body, what they become? Glucose. So why do you need to feed your body sugar in order to get glucose?
Okay.
You see?
Interesting.
So you really don't need sugar in the diet. We feel that we need sugar because of the palate. What the palate say, what we've gotten accustomed to, right?
It's all about taste.
It's all about taste. That's what it is. It's all about taste, and not only taste, but sometimes eating certain foods give us that type of satisfaction. Certain things get triggered in the body, and it makes you feel happy when you eat certain things, and that's why some people, when they get depressed, they may tend to eat. Whereas you have other people who, when they get depressed, they don't eat, so they would lose weight. You spoke about if you don't sleep, you lose weight. If I don't sleep, I gain weight, because the hormones that get stimulated when you don't sleep, when your body is exhausted, right? For most of us, we would tend to gain weight as opposed to lose weight. So I think it's important for us to recognize that sometimes the quality of the carbohydrates that we eat is important. You don't have to necessarily cut carbohydrates out of the diet. However, there's another however there. A lot of people are what we call carbohydrate cravers. Carbohydrate makes us feel good. So we tend to eat an abundance of it. So I think when we think about controlling blood sugars, definitely you have to cut back on the carbohydrates. When you think about weight management, that may be a group of food that you need to really cut back on. Because that is probably what is predominant on your table, on your plate. And that is where that extra fat is coming from, even though it's entering the body as a carbohydrate food.
So are you saying that it is better recommended to gradually remove carbohydrates, based on your condition, of course, than to just abruptly just remove carbs?
Well, for most people that, or let me say for some people that may work best.
Okay.
It all depends. I think a lot of nutrition has to do with psychology and your psyche and where you are. For some people, they're able to say, I'm going to have carbs at one meal, and they're fine with that.
Okay.
For a lot of people, they may feel empowered initially. I can do this. I can cut the carbs. I can cut it out altogether. And if you ask them, well, how much of this do you think? Because really counseling should be the client driven, not you telling the client necessarily what to do.
Okay.
Sometimes you find yourself in a position where you have to say what to do because the client is not, they're not engaging, right? But if the client is really engaging and you're able to guide them that they are making the decisions, and you say, well, maybe you can cut the carbs. You're eating a whole pack of Cricks. Because people don't realize how much is in a pack of Cricks. I mean, the wrong sleeve. It's very easy to eat a pack of Cricks. But when you actually show them how much carbs is in a pack of Cricks, how many carbs is in one serving of Cricks. For a person with diabetes, the package may say a serving size is 9 Cricks. But we say you're counting carbohydrates in terms of 15 grams. So if you look at the package, it will say 9 or 10 grams of Cricks, but Cricks, it will say the grams of carbohydrates is 20 or 21. So when we say 6 Cricks, sometimes people go away saying, oh, I only eat 6 Cricks. And people tell you that all the time. I only eat 6 Cricks. And I'm saying to myself, well, to them, well, I really applaud you, because I know if I'm eating Cricks, it's not going to be 6 Cricks. But I'm not telling you to eat 6 Cricks. I'm telling you 6 Cricks is how much gives gives you this much, not based on the manufacturer's label, right? So that is an understanding that people have to have. So sometimes if you just don't really understand how much you should be, what you're currently eating, I think is important to do that, and what is normal, and how you can bring yourself closer to normal. For most people, I think gradually tapering it back may work best.
Okay.
Right?
Actually, that is interesting because there's a lot of people who have substituted bread for Crix because they believe that Crix is a healthier option.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people do that, especially on evening times. They use a Crix as opposed to the bread.
Yeah.
But
So-
is it like half a dozen and 6, as they say, same
Yeah,
difference?
Yeah, because I mean, sometimes it depends on the type of fat. You can say whether it's healthy or the amount of fat. You can look at that and see whether it's healthy or whether it's not healthier. But I think the misconception, but because people are usually doing that because bread is starchy, right? But what is bread made from? Flour.
Flour.
What is Crix made from?
Same flour.
Same flour. So when you really look at it, it still takes you right back to the proportion of what you're eating.
Right.
If you're concerned with fats, then you would look at your bread package. Here in Grenada, we don't have a label that tells you this is how much fat is in the product. What we have is a label telling you the type of fat that is in that bread. But the Crix packet would actually tell you what type of fat is in the Crix, because you have your ingredient list, and it will also tell you how much fat is in that 9 or 10 Crix that they're saying is a serving, right? So if you're able to look at the types of fat and differentiate, okay, this one has lard, which is an animal fat, and this one has, I don't know, maybe an oil or something like that. I'm not sure what's in Crix. Crix probably has a vegetable shortening.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, some type of vegetable shortening. But then looking at in this vegetable shortening, and I think they removed the trans fats because Crix at one time when they made that change over, the biscuits used to really just break up because
was
I
kind
guess
of
they
brittle.
didn't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't get the mix right because they took out the fat that would give all the trans fat, right? So now I think they got it it's pretty decent now.
Okay.
But what type of fat? Is a vegetable fat. Look at the ingredient list. Does the ingredient list say there's partially hydrogenated oil in there? That's trans fats. So they don't have to say zero. They don't have to claim trans fat if it's under, like, I think it's 0.5 grams or something like that. They can claim 0. But because it's such a small amount, but it doesn't mean it's absolute 0. But if you're looking to absolute 0 trans fat from your diet, then you need to not see partially hydrogenated oil on that package, you know? So you'll be able to see, there's a bread on the market, and I don't want to call brands, but there's a bread on the market right now that there's no fat listed.
Okay.
And I looked at it the first time and I said, okay, because I know people typically put some type of fat in their bread. And I said, okay, well, maybe it's a slip on the label. And I look at it the second time, slip on the label. And the third time, I actually called the number on the bread. And I said, why are you not indicating the fat that you have in your bread so that the customer knows? And the gentleman said to me, ma'am, that's because there is no fat in this bread, right?
Okay.
The bread is good. It's tasty because, of course, I like to try things. It's tasty. And he has no fat. It looks, you know, it weighs everything. The volume and everything is good. The texture is good.
Okay.
In terms of storage, you might have to be mindful about how you're storing it, but it's, you know, it's a pretty good bread.
Okay.
So people...
So
you
it's
know,
found here locally?
It's found here locally. It's made here locally.
Okay.
So if you browse the market, you might find it. It's in a lot of the supermarkets. But people have an option also of making their own.
Right.
So you know what type of fat that you put into it.
That goes into...
That goes into it. Oil can go into making your bread instead of using solid fats. I have always also tried, and actually my sister-in-law was the first person who did it, to use avocado as the fat in her bread and just add a little oil to it. And the bread comes out, you know, it's good when you eat it, you feel satisfied because it has that, but it has that good healthy fat, you know, in it. So I guess it's a matter of just weighing what is actually in the product and see whether you have a healthy fat, the salt content. We don't, again, our bread here, and bread is a big contributor to salt in the diet. But for us here, we have salt as an ingredient. We don't know how much, right? On the Crix packet, you will be able to tell how much. So I'm not saying don't buy the bread from the bakery. I'm just saying that these are some things that people can, think about. And when you think about weight loss, with the more salt you take on, the more water your body, you kind of feel heavier when you have all that salt in your body, because your body has to kind of try to balance for you, So all these things have to be considered in terms of selecting one or the other, but your portion is still correct.
So it's really and truly, it's about serving, it's about portion sizes and so on that determine how you manage your weight.
What is normal. What is normal and how much am I actually going to eat? Because even though a package tell you 9 Crix is a serving, and you see that brings you, 250 calories or whatever it is on there. Maybe 250, maybe on the sodium, maybe the calories might be, 100 and something, right? How much am I going to eat? How much of that am I going to eat? So if I'm going to eat 3 times 9, then 3 times 120 calories, then 3 times 250 grams of sodium, milligrams of sodium. So you have to be able to learn and understand, and I think that's how we're able to make informed decisions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So if you don't mind sharing with us, what does a typical meal plan look like for a normal person who wants to manage their weight, as opposed to somebody with a non-communicable disease, it's like probably diabetes or something? Okay. So
the meal plans would probably be similar if you're going with a traditional meal plan, which means you're having, some people prefer to have 2 meals a day. Some people may want to have 3 meals a day. I think 3 meals a day is good, not necessarily with the snacking. Like you're constantly keeping yourself going and making sure that you drink adequate amounts of water. Can't emphasize that enough. Drinking water and keeping yourself hydrated kind of helps you to control your appetite in a way, because a lot of times we don't sense, what we're sensing is thirst, but we feed it food instead of feeding it a drink, right? So I think you can have a breakfast, lunch, and dinner meal. Some people like to have a little fruit in the morning before breakfast, but a little fruit. I have people who eat a bowl of fruit in the morning before breakfast and then have breakfast. That's a lot of carbs that you're putting into your body within a very short space of time. For someone who is already overweight, which is a risk factor for diabetes and other diseases, you really don't want to load up yourself, because, and especially for people who have been found to what we call term pre-diabetes. If you load up, your body is already telling you that what you are doing presently, I am not handling it. So you have to make a change. So although fruit is healthy, if you load up yourself with a lot of fruit and then come back and eat some bread or some oats or whatever, it is all healthy, but you're putting so much of it into you.
So it's still about moderation, really.
Exactly, it's still about moderation. But then you have persons who may want to do, and now we have intermittent fasting. And that has been shown to provide weight loss. People do different hours, number of fasting. Some people eat 8 and eat within 8 hours and 16 hours they fast.
So for somebody who's hearing about this for the first time, what actually is intermittent fasting?
It's just that you eat at specified times of the day, a number of hours of the day, and the rest of it you fast, which means you're not taking in anything that has calories, be it solid food or liquid, right? So you're drinking water, and so, but you're not drinking a juice. You're not drinking a tea that you add sugar or honey or anything to it. So you're allowing your body to be able to, after using that food and storing whatever it has to store, within those fasting hours, you have the next line of energy for the body. Earlier we said the first line of energy that the body goes to is carbohydrates, your glucose. The next line of energy would be your fat.
Okay.
So if you're not feeding your body within X number of hours, 16 hours, some people do 4 hours eating, 20 hours fasting, then your body is going to divert to fat, and it's going to use up some of the fat on your body to to provide energy. The energy won't be glucose, but fat energy is going to be ketones. So, but the body is able to function on ketones to some extent, right? So some people do that and it works. For some people, it's just a go-to to boost the initial weight loss. Some people are able to do it, you know, continuously. I don't know that there are studies that have shown long-term effect, because a lot of these eating patterns are relatively new.
Okay.
So I don't know how it will affect people in the long term, the fasting and so. Even people with diabetes have used that method of eating. But if you're taking insulin or something, that's another consideration in terms of you fasting for that number. If you're taking pills, likelihood you can probably eat within, depending on the pill, because different pills have different actions, you'll probably be able to get by. Or if you're pre-diabetic, you're probably, because in the initial stages of a diagnosis of diabetes or pre-diabetes, recommendation is that you have X percentage of weight loss that can help to bring the blood sugar back to where it needs to be.
Good morning and welcome to Rise and Shine for today, Tuesday. It's the 30th day of May, 2023. I am your host, Arcelyn Crosby. It's always a pleasure to be here with you. It is the day after the holiday, and I know for most people it might be a bit of an awkward day, yes? You have to get up after such a long weekend. Might still be tired, but it is the start of another week, and actually we're concluding the month of May. So there's a lot happening, but I encourage you to wake up. We have a country to build. There are things that you need to do, I need to do. So if we all play our part, at the end of the day, we know that we will all get through with the plan. Yes? It's now 7:44 in the morning. Let us ensure that we make this day the best. The sun is peeping out, so it's going to be a lovely day. Yesterday was a hot one, but one to be welcomed. Remember, we are mere days away now. Come Thursday, it is the start of the Atlantic hurricane season, June 1. We go all the way to November 30th. We don't know what the season will bring yet, but let's be prepared for whatever it does choose to bring. So let's do so. And what a way to start in that preparation by giving us an idea as to what's happening with the weather today. Let's go over to the Met Office and say good morning to our forecasters and hear what the weather will be giving us today. Good morning.
Hi, good morning to you and good morning to all listeners. It's currently fair today at the Morris Bishop International Airport. Winds are from the east at 21 miles per hour. Barometric pressure is 1012.9 millibars, which is below the norm, but it's currently rising. Present temperature is 28.3 degrees Celsius and relative humidity 82%. Yesterday's maximum temperature was 30.8 degrees Celsius and minimum temperature last night 27.7 degrees Celsius. There was no rainfall here at the Morris Bishop International over the past 24 hours, hence the total for the month remains at 68.7 millimeters. Here is the public weather forecast, valid for today and tonight. The weather is expected to be fair and windy, becoming partly cloudy at times during the afternoon, with light to moderate isolated showers. Today's maximum temperature is expected to be 31 degrees Celsius. Winds easterly to southeasterly at 14 to 24 miles per hour. Seas slight to moderate with waves of 3 to 5 feet in open waters. Tides will be high at midday and low at 6 p.m. Today's sunset will be at 6:28 and tomorrow's sunrise at 5:42. So just to recap, the weather is expected to be generally fair and windy, becoming partly cloudy at times during the afternoon, with light to moderate isolated showers. From the Met Office, Jerry and Marisho.
Thank you so much, Ms. Marisho, for today's forecast. We heard it. It's going to be a fair day, no rain at the Maurice Bishop International Airport. Remember, it is at the Maurice Bishop International Airport. In your area, there might have been rain, yes, but no rain at the MBIA. And if we did get some, even though it was not a lot, it was a very hot day yesterday, and it is expected to be another day like that today. So let's be prepared. Yeah, prepare yourself accordingly. Now let's take in now our word of the day this morning from our student, our featured student of the day.
My name is Angelina Connaught. I am a grade 6 student at the St. Andrew's Methodist School, and the word of the day is able. I am able to eat my food on my own.
Able. Yes, we are able. And if you want to continue to be able, remember, that it comes with a lot of will, yeah? You might want to do things, but you don't want to work for it. You need to do that, yeah? It's important that you do. Let's go over now for emergency tip of the day. Fire safety tips at home. So if you are at home and something goes wrong, let's take it now that tip. So I have fire workplace here. So I have workplace on the screen and home out here. But let's work with what's on the screen. Workplace fire safety tips. Identify the fire hazards. Know that it can happen, and if you are, how do you get out of the building? Identify the people that are at risk. You may have vulnerable people in your workplace. So your plan should include how you get them out in case of a fire. Evaluate and reduce the hazard. So you can have things like your extinguishers and so inside, and have an emergency plan. Set up an emergency plan and conduct training. It's important to do the drills. Very, very important to do drills. And review your risk assessments. When you do your plan must include a muster point. Review the risk assessment so you can anticipate. If this were to happen, then that is what will happen. This is where you go. So all I would include your plan, but ensure that whenever you identify risk, you also understand how it is that you can mitigate against them. That is critical in any plan that you have. But always remember, no plan is foolproof. But what a plan does is better prepare everyone in the organization that when the hazard do affect you, you know how to respond. And remember, the planning helps in saving lives. So don't take it lightly. Do it, practice, do what you need to do. Because at the end of the day, the ultimate goal in that of reducing the impact of hazards is saving lives, property, and livelihoods. So let us take a quick break. I see my first two guests are on. So let us take a quick break. When we come back, we get into that conversation on that Hello Dad conference that will be coming up, men, mental health, and what is a man's role in this society. We'll be back shortly.
Come home to Coats Ready Cash and get ready for Carnival with a loan of $3,000 or more, and you're paying nothing for 60 days. Plus, you could be eligible for a reduced interest rate. So don't miss out. Get Carnival ready with flexible payment terms, hassle-free service, and fast approval. Now, all you need is your ID, proof of address, payslip, job letter, 2 references. That's it. Apply now. Visit shopcoats.com. Come home to Coats Ready Cash. Be ready when you are. Conditions apply.
Everybody push something in the air now. Promoters, here is a chance to boost your event or fete with MTV's irresistible television advertising specials. Book now and be wowed with party deals and good advertising coverage. Call our sales and marketing department on 440-8171 or via WhatsApp on 455-5718. You can also send an email at mtvmarketinggd@gmail.com. Terms and conditions apply. It's the 4th edition of Hubbard's Live Free for 1 year promotion. Cuatro Punto Cero. It's unbelievably amazing. You can win free fuel, free drinks, cash prizes, free property and vehicular insurance, free cable, TV and internet, free electricity, free coke, free water, free cooking gas, free paint supplies, free passes to Sunshine Promotion events for 2023, free groceries, all for 1 whole year. And every winner receives a lunch package. Be sure to fill out the entry forms and enter it into the marked entry boxes at all Hubbard's departments and at participating outlets. Promotion runs from April 1st to September 30th, 2023. Draws will be held every 2 weeks. Terms and conditions apply.
In our part of the world, we need to be prepared for natural disasters like storms and hurricanes, even outside of the season. I'm sure you'll agree that keeping our loved ones, homes, and businesses safe is important. So, I came up with a few quick tips to help you stay safe. First, make a family disaster plan and ensure that everyone in your household is familiar and comfortable with it. Remember to add batteries and flashlights to your emergency kit. Don't be caught off guard by natural disasters. Prepare now. For more information, visit grenlec.com.
Rise and shine.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for being here with us. I have 3 guests on this morning, and it has to do with that conference that's coming up on the 10th of June. We spoke to Mr. Nigel John before when he did share with us the intention and what will be happening. But most so, I think what's important here, it is focusing on our males, on our fathers, the role of a father in society, and men in the home and in society, and also men's mental health. We often tend to think that a man is supposed to be the strong one, the one that should not cry, the one that should always be that tough. But I think we would all agree that because of that, our men are the ones that often suppress how they feel, what they do, and it is not good for us. It is not good. Because we also realize that our men will be the ones to lash out, and when they do, it means that we have casualties. And we have to see how we can mitigate against this. Get our men to speak a lot more. Let them feel more apart. Sometimes I think we think our men are stone and not human beings, but they are like us, yeah? We women are always supposed to be the ones that are pampered and always to be listened to, while our men should always be pounced on, and that is not true. So this morning I want to welcome Pastor Gerald Keynes Douglas, Dr. King, and also Dr. Chaitan. Good morning and welcome. Sorry about that, my computer just froze on me, so we're going right on into with the conversation. So, good morning and welcome. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you so much for having me on.
It is a pleasure. Keynes Douglas and Dr. King.
Yes, good morning.
All right, wonderful.
Yes, good morning to you.
Great. So that way I get the test and making sure that we can all hear you. I want to start off with the woman in the midst, because yes, we are focusing on our men. Yes, but I want to start. Dr. King, just give us some background to who is Dr. King. But I want us to have this conversation because it's a very important one, and we're having it in time because we are preparing now for Father's Day. The role of the father and the men in a home and society, and men's mental health. So just give us some context as to your background, and let us go into this topic. The importance of our men being role models.
Okay. So my name is Dr. Kathy King. I am a house officer attached to the psychiatric ward at the Mungie Hospital.
Excellent.
And so I interact with a lot of men in context of their mental health. They would be admitted either voluntarily or most times by the police. So, and then I would get to interview them and talk to them about why they think they're in the situation that they are in. And so from talking to them over in my job, I've gotten a perspective on, what goes on in their thinking and what are the factors that lead to them having mental health breakdowns and having relapses. So that is the area of my, I wouldn't say expertise. I don't consider myself an expert as yet, but that's the area I'll be able to make a contribution in. As far as the role of men in the home, traditionally we know that we say that men are to be providers and protectors. And if we are to look at our society as a whole, we know that nobody stands alone. So even in the role of providers and protectors, men also need provision and they also need protection. And I think the best way they can get that is from cooperating with other men in particular, you know, finding strength in numbers and finding camaraderie with other men, and also leaning on the women in their lives to learn things from us as far as relationships, coping skills, communication skills, and so forth.
I am happy that we started there with the mental health part and dealing with our men, because I think Dr. King, as I said initially, as I was introducing the conversation, men are often seen as the rock, yeah? Mm-hmm. But as everything else, if you keep pounding on a rock, it will break. And exactly. Our men, and I'm sure there may be more men up at the facility. I'm not saying for sure. It may be more men at the psychiatric facility, at our psychiatric facility, unlike women.
Yes.
And as a society, go ahead.
More men are admitted, and more men have relapses. So you might find that a female patient might come in twice for the year, but we have some men who come in every 3 months, you know, and those are normally the men who do not have the support of their families, and they do not have any other person to depend on, so they come back, or they don't have the coping skills. That's a main thing to deal with their problems. So they rely on alcohol, they become violent, they don't talk early enough about their problems, and then they end up having many readmissions during the year.
It's an excellent way for us to start off and branch off now into the conversation. Dr. Chaitan, I want to bring you in here now before I get to to Pastor Keynes Douglas. Dr. Chaitan, just give us just a little context to your background in medicine. And I want us to move now to what Dr. King just said. Most of our men have relapses. Most of our men, without the support of others, we recognize that the coping skills is quite a challenge. And I think we recognize that. A man has a problem and he will not speak. He would keep it inside. You may recognize he's behaving strange, but he would say nothing because of how society has created that image of a man, and it is destroying our men, and we must take it. We had to take the bull by the horn in this one and try to fix it.
Yeah, I want to thank you for having me. Just quickly, I know you want from a medical perspective. I do prescribe medicine, but it's not pharmaceuticals, right? Because I'm not a medical doctor. My PhD is social and behavioral sciences, so I look at behavior and what are the root causes and how to mitigate them. And so really and truly, my title, I'm a social skill consultant with a specialty on crime reduction. And that's why I said early on that I'm looking at the man and crime. And I totally agree with Dr. King there and her analysis. I think there are a number of root causes of men's frustration, men's anger. We got to look at the neuroscientific look or aspect of it, how the man's brain is wired, and that's something I want to do a lot more in Grenada. Recently, we established an office, a satellite office from my head office in Toronto. I'm Grenadian, of course, and Pastor Keynes Douglas know me. We grew up as boys together in Grenville. But I wanted to make an impact, and so I look at the aspect of the way the man was socialized, the way the man was raised, and Ms. Crosby, I heard you talking a lot about empathy and the lack of emotions, and that is very much so. Whether it's traditional or whether it is scientific, some sources say that the way the man brain is wired, because it's generally accepted that the man is a left brainer as opposed to the female who is predominantly, let me say that word, predominantly a right brainer. And what goes with left brain, the left brain is a target focus brain. The left brain sees less options, while the female brain, which is more a right brainer, she has so many more options. That's why a woman could be, she's so amazing. Let me say that again. Women, if you listen, clap your hands for yourself. You're so amazing at what you do because you have so many things you could do. You could multitask, whereas a man gets frustrated easily. So there's a high level of frustration with men. And when a man is frustrated, he sometimes, if he's not well socialized or well taught, that's a better word, he takes the quickest option. You know, I recently did some work in St. Lucia because I established the office in Grenada to serve the Caribbean, and I just came from St. Lucia. And, you know, they're having a terrible time with homicides out there. And I did an island tour in my off time, and I saw the Sulphur Springs, and I know we have them here in Grenada too, as a little boy, what we call the Boiling Springs. And these Boiling Springs, as you traverse St. Andrews, where I'm from, you see, you know, these little wells of water boiling, heated water, hot water. And we wonder, why are these boiling? Well, the thing about it, Ms. Crosby and my colleagues, these are vents for volcanoes, right? And as long as these are venting the heat, the chance of the volcano erupting is a lot less because the pressure is being vented. What I'm saying to you is that if we teach men how to vent their emotion, vent their feelings, you know, instead of keeping it kept. When you keep it kept, what happens is that it blows it up. And when it blows it up, they become sometimes uncontrollable.
That is so true. I like that analogy that you use. The challenge is getting a man to speak. And as you rightfully said, again, it goes back again to women. A woman can get a man to speak in, but it's how do you do it? How you do it? And every woman, I believe, knows who they are dealing with and how best to get them to speak. But I am very, very happy for this conversation. And now it takes us now. So we have heard from Dr. King, who gave us some statistics. We have just heard from Dr. Chaitan, who is a behavioral specialist who deals with how behavior and crime. I need us now to let's go to another critical pillar of our society, that of the church. The church takes us inside of the home, right? So when we get context from everyone, then we can now open up this conversation even wider. Dr. Kings Douglas, as much as, so Dr. King is at the facility, and that is actually end result. Dr. Chaitan deals with the behavior, but it starts at home. And I know that is what we are taught from growing up, that it all starts in the home. It starts and ends in the home. Let us go to our homes, where I think that society, a lot has fallen apart. Whereas in the past, the home was our sacred place, our home now seems to be a place of battle. Our society have changed. Our children have changed. Our young adults and adults have changed. Our elderly are moving out. They are leaving us. But we see that some of the wisdom and those critical foundational fundamental principles are lost because we realize that we tend to think now that we need to be modern. And with modernity comes the issue now of all the challenges that we have, where our men are now becoming a lot more cocooned. Nobody's speaking. Instead, everybody's just exploding, and we have a problem. And I'm happy that we are addressing it this morning. Take us inside of our homes.
Okay, good. Let's do this. Good morning to you again, and to your guest and those viewing online. And so we discover now, we know, and you heard it from Dr. Chaitan, you heard it from Dr. King, that men do have an issue. It is not only a predominance of men at the mental institution, but at the prisons. And so something is happening, but the home is critical because at the home, there is a lack of modeling and there is a lack of molding. Most men and most of us grow up in a kind of isolation from male models that really show and supposed to teach and lead men how to be a man, how to be a father, how to be a husband, just how to be a good citizen with all of the energy, the strength, and a lot of it is negative energy that is wrongly challenged, and usually women and children suffer first and most. Now, by the way, it almost seems to as if men are only abusing women, but actually more men suffer violence, more men are murdered, more men are abused, more men are chopped, but then it also spills over to the female population. So the home is critical. If you go to the prison and you do a research, you would see that 90% of the prisoners there have not grown with a father. What does that tell you? There is a direct connect between the lack of fatherhood and the molding, modeling role and antisocial behavior displayed by men in society. So what is this conference all about, and what do we really need? We need to reconnect men to men who are good models, godly models. And when we say we need men who are leaders, we are not talking about bullies and manipulators of people in the home. We are talking about servant leaders. We are talking about men who get up early, go to work, say to the children, this is the way you do it. I respect my wife or the common law woman I'm living with, and we believe in respect and order and discipline, things like that. That's the kind of leader we are looking for. But not only leadership, we need men who are learners, we need men who are lovers, and we need men who are there to understand that their role is to leave a legacy for others to follow. And let me just say this, marriages are falling apart at an alarming rate right now. You should hear what the judges are saying that's going on, which means, and by the way, let me just quickly add for your audience, that most of the marriages are now filed by women, which means they are not putting up with anything less than what they expect. Maybe the expectation is of such that women are a little bit more independent, will not tolerate the kind of abuses that our parents' generation excuse. It doesn't happen right now. And so marriages are falling apart. I am overwhelmed in trying to hold couples together, even as I do quite a lot of marriage and marriage coaching. So there is an issue in the home, and boy, we better address it, because you know what? And well, I'll get to it later on as we go along, but it is frightening a lot of people to even get married. People rather just shack up than get married because of what's going on. And then the other option is the LGBTQIA alphabet option, because you know what? This thing isn't working. And so I'm just saying these are some other spin-offs that's happening, and it really ought to be concerning for all of us.
Yes, it is. Dr. Chaitan, I see you shaking your head. Dr. King, I see the same response. I think we are all on the same page here on this one. It is a lot. And let us move now to that. I want to go back to the behavioral part of all of this, Dr. Chaitan, and because I think Pastor Keynes Douglas has put it in context for us. Yeah? We understand what exists. We understand where we are going. And I think we will all agree that we are not in a good place. We are not in a good place at all. We continue to go down a very, very slippery slope. If we expect to have a generation that we'll be proud of tomorrow, or even have a generation at all, then it means that we need to start working now. Behaviors.
Okay, so let me chime in here, and I'm going to say this tongue in cheek, and I hope nobody shoots me down where I am in my office here. But I like to go in my work. I don't like the plaster approach. I like to go to the roots of the problem. Okay, and sometimes we don't appreciate or we don't like the root because we don't like what we see. Okay, I do a lot of speaking out across the Caribbean and North America in regards to what we see now as behavioral issues with our boys. As a matter of fact, recently I wrote an article. I write a monthly article, crime column article, and our listeners could go online and look for it. It's called "Indeed, There Are No Bad Boys." Indeed, there are no bad boys. Now, in that article, I basically said, like, in my 25 years of working with young men and men and boys that have been incarcerated, that have been dubbed bad, that have been suspended, that have been expelled from school, I have come to the conclusion that there are no bad boys. But I have it here on my article. I want you to listen to the list of boys that I have seen. Misguided boys, hurt boys, traumatized boys, grief-stricken boys, disappointed boys, negatively labeled boys, rejected boys, low self-esteem and boys, depressed boys, fatherless boys, bullied boys, sexually abused boys, unwanted and unloved boys. These are some of the factors, some of the root causes of what we're seeing, the behavior we're seeing. Ladies and gentlemen, please understand, sometimes people think that Dr. Charlton is unduly blaming females or females or women. No, I'm not. I go around educating them, letting them know how beautiful, how divinely purposeful they are, how significant they are, right? Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Crosby, we have to go into our schools and help our girls appreciate who they are. You know, this over-sexualizing, this what I call the devil's, sorry to be so religious, the devil's version of what good sex is, pornography, is driving our generation. Young women are getting in bed before knowing the person that they are getting in bed with, giving up their godly bodies, the dignity, the beauty of life that God gave to them to cherish. They see someone and the person makes a comment. Because this girl never had a daddy to say, baby, you are the apple of my eye. I love you so much. And so the first man had said, hey, girl, you look fine. She believes he loves her. This guy wants a cookie. I'm sorry, that's what he wants. And she doesn't know who this guy is. And all of a sudden, she gives up her beautiful, beautiful self to him, a man she does not know. And then she becomes pregnant with another little boy that looks so much like the father. The father doesn't mind him. The father doesn't train him. The father doesn't father him. Father never part of his life. And then he's not getting any sustenance. He's not getting any finances from that father. So what happened? The mother is upset with the daddy. And the poor little boy, he's now 14, 13, he's in high school. He wants a pair of shoes. Father is not minding him. The mother gets upset with the father because she's not, and she looks at the boy in indignation and said, "Oh, you see how you bad like your father? Oh, you see how your nose big like your father? Come on, man, let's make this thing real." Killing two men. The question is, if this boy turns around and says, "Mom, did you know my daddy before you had sex with him?" He's going to get a box in his face for disrespect. But ladies, remember, beautiful ladies out there, if you are not raped, if you are raped, take your rapist to court, seek justice. If you are not raped, you may have made a bad choice, which is going to spiral into, that can spiral into criminality. So, you know, we got to go to the bottom of this, and let's be honest with ourselves, because we want to blame everybody. As my friend Pastor King Douglas said, I just coming from St. Lucia. The Border Lake Correctional Facility has 500 men and 8 women. Come on, let's take a look at the root causes, man. Let's go deeper than that.
I agree fully. And because every action that we see came from somewhere, and it takes us now to Dr. King. You become the last part of this chain when they cannot cope. So it has happened. It started as a child. You hear it all your life, and then they start behaving as such. And then you end up now with the end problem, where you now have to try to undo years of what was done, which is an almost impossible task.
Yes, and I think that part of the solution, as Dr. Charlton was saying, is to get to the root cause. He made the point of whether people who have children, the men and the women who have children, if they know each other. So it points to relationship, right? Mm-hmm. And it points to how do we establish healthy relationships, to start families, within families, because we say that the family is the building block of our society. and the family is the sum of the relationships within it. So I think a lot more needs to be said about relationships, whether it's the father-daughter relationship, the father-son relationships, the husband-wife relationship, and how we can strengthen these relationships, how we can mend them, how we can teach people the skills that they need, how we can encourage each other to meet expectations or to serve each other, as Pastor Kings Douglas was saying. He made the point that a lot of women nowadays, they're not willing to put up with what their parents put up with, and that is true. That's why most of the divorces are led by women. And I think that the solution to that is probably bringing women and men to the table and saying, hey, we cannot have a healthy society, we cannot have a thriving society without healthy male-female relationships. What do we have to change as women? What do we have to change as men to facilitate that? Yeah, and I think that the foundation needs to be addressed. Also.
Yeah, if I may chime in there, Ms. Crosby, well said, Dr. King. But you know what? I think at the base of this relationship, Dr. King, is the personhood. Building that person to where they could appreciate themselves and realize who I am. Now, Pastor Kings Douglas will tell you, right, that's, and I'm not a preacher, he's a preacher. Psalm 139:14 said, I will praise thee for I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. We have to go around and let our children know, our young people know that they are wonderfully made, and they did not come to earth, they didn't come to this planet by accident. And by the way, I've met some parents that tell their children, I didn't want you. One lady said to her little daughter, your father raped me, I didn't want you. What does that do to a child? Self-esteem and self-respect. However, if we could, Pastor Kings Douglas and Miss King and all those listening out there, if we could, our churches, our schools could help young people to discover themselves. Pastor King, I mean, Pastor Kings Douglas, we went to the same primary school, St. Andrew's Methodist School. And I was you didn't even know that, Pastor King. I was one of the boys that were EMAC. My mouth was so big and I was a class disturber. And everyone's looking at me, you see that little boy? Nobody gonna kill that little boy. That little boy gonna go in jail, he moves too fast, he speaks too much. And it could have become a self-fulfilling prophecy. It could have. But one teacher in Methodist school looked at this liability that everyone was looking at and said, come here, boy. You see that mouth of yours? And made me teach his class. It's Pastor James. I don't know where he is. And turned my life around. When I am at some big conventions speaking, I remember when I was in Nairobi, Kenya, and Dr. Mwai Kibaki, who was the president then, asked me to speak on the day of his independence. I almost cried. I could not mount the podium because one person said, my big mouth is going to get me killed and go to jail. Well, a teacher said, man, that mouth of yours, you're going to become a great speaker one day. So we got to get to the foundation of this and build our children. Help them to understand that even if your father, your mother said you were raped, no, you came here. God allowed you to come on this planet. You had a contribution to make.
I agree, and I think Pastor Kings, yes. I think it introduces you now by itself. The conversation brings you right in.
And I like to raise three things that has been basically that has been raised, but I like to address it from 3 points of view. One is the fact that a boy can be born in a home without the father, as Dr. Chaitan says, because dad is absent. He's an absentee father. And go through all of his school and life as a student without having a male teacher. I mean, there is such a predominance of female teachers that a guy keeps saying for his whole school life, yes, miss say, mommy, miss say. So it's from miss to mommy to miss, and then he works with a female boss down the road. And then this guy has to now come and be the man in a home with a woman, and his mind about women is already screwed. The damage is already done. So there's that problem that a lot of boys are just socialized without any male modeling and so forth. I saw one principal who said, I'm not hiring any more females. My school needs some males. And she was crying out, because she said my boys need to know how to be boys following men. That's the first thing. The second thing is that it is not always a mistake when a woman gets in bed. Today, a lot of women have no hope of a solid relationship, and they are choosing a sperm donor. They want to have a child or two because there is the clock that is ticking. And so they basically choose a guy, whether he knows it or not. If they put him on, thinking that I could do this without an active male, even if he's like the kind of guy who doesn't fit my life, he'll never get there. He's just way below my calling and life. But when the child gets to 13, all of a sudden she loses control because he's now listening to the rap artists, to the guys on the block, and mom is out of control. And so we are now raising a potential monster who started, as Dr. Chaitan says, as a good boy. But now his values are not in sync with what mom would think and what society wants. He's now listening to the rap guys. Let's kill a nigger. Let's shoot this guy. Let's kill this person. Let's do, and it's all going wrong. I mean, your woman is your bitch. Take care of your bitch and all of that. And hey, so this guy gets into a relationship and he's been taught that, that's your bitch. That's your sweet thing, your queen, whatever. Disrespect gets in there. And then as to Dr. Chaitan's point of view, it's nice to tell children and everybody you are fearfully and wonderfully made. But there is no science book in any school from primary to where we are that starts with God as the origin of the species. It is Darwinian evolution. So if you came here by chance, your parents you never know who you really are. And so we have a messed up side of education that is taking away true personhood and value. Because a guy could say, well, who put me here? I don't know. There was a big bang, some explosion, so why should I care about people? Where am I going when I leave here? There is nothing to live for except myself. And so there is a lot of other side issues. I know they're small, they're major, but they're on the side that's affecting, they're variables nonetheless that's affecting the way men think. So I hope that this conversation here would, awaken thinking, awaken women, awaken men, and would call all of us to the table to take responsibility and to do our best now and for the generation that we are supposed to be molding.
I want to go on record here to say that we speak about the men and everything that was said this morning, so correct. We are right on it because there are many men that never encountered women or might have encountered many women in their lifetimes, but they don't know women. A woman have a critical role to play in this, very, very critical role to play in this. And I don't ever want us to feel that we are immune or the dominant gender here when it comes to mental part. There's a reason why, I always break it down that way for me, that there's a reason why a man mentally is not strong but a woman is. When the two come together, you should have a super being. And that was the reason why it was created that way. So a woman was created from a man may not have, and Dr. Chaitan spoke about it, that a woman can multitask. Yes, we are excellent. A man frustrates, get angry very easily. They cannot do more than one thing at a time. But if I am bringing options to an issue that you may have, it means that we have a solution. As a woman, we have to teach our men how to cope, help them. It is a woman's role. And we speak about the divorce. I say it all the time. Nobody's fighting for anything anymore. Before something happened, we get up and we run. But when we run, we're leaving them now vacant and open just as our children for society to deal with them. And then they end up by Dr. King. Are we helping our men as women? What are we doing? We speak about Mother's Day. Father's Day is equally important because our men, we need them at home. You look at how children behave to their fathers compared to their mothers. We have to speak about 5, 6, 7 times. Daddy speaks once and they move. Doesn't matter which one of them they are. And our men need to understand that you have a very important role to play. The Bible cannot be wrong when they say that the man is the head of the home. The man would always be the head of the home no matter how independent we think we are. And we have to respect a man's place. As a woman, we have to know when to stop and say, this is yours to do. And I want you to start the conversation. Let us speak. Let's go to the table. If you realize he's not doing it, then nudge him. When he recognizes what it is, he's going to start talking. He will recognize that he has to lead. If we want to take the place, then we want to wear the pants. I know of a case where a husband told his wife, I'm taking off the pants, wear it because you seem to want to wear it. We need to know our place as women. Independence does not make us better. It is destroying our society. And I say this with no apology. We have our place and we need to know it. It started in the church. The Bible can never be wrong. The minute we women decide that we wanted to be independent and be the anchors, yes, we might be able to work in leadership roles, but our place is to support the leaders. And unless we don't understand this, then we continue to have a society that is flawed, filled with a lot of critical and social issues. And we need to stop now.
So, and whereas I acknowledge all that you said about, it starts in the Bible and all of that and so forth, we have moved away. We have drifted away significantly. So a woman can marry a man who then tomorrow tells her, oh, by the way, I think I'm a woman. There's a woman in me that's trying to come out. Or a woman can marry a man and then gender, we are annihilating gender, and then claims that she's a man. I heard the story the other day, I read it, of a man who raped 2 women, and by the time they brought him to court, he said he's a woman. And so he needs to be tried as a woman, and he needs to be in a woman's prison. So now he's put in a woman's prison for raping women because he's now, and the court refers to him, i.e. as her. So now we have a sort of gender confusion that's hitting our children. It's coming home, it's coming to a school or a community near you. It's here, and so there is this issue. And so the question is, will we go back to, in the beginning, God made them male and female, or are we going to annihilate that as well and say, hey, be what you want to be, and let's try and make it happen in the home. Change your gender any day and, be what you want. So I'm just saying, I'm not trying to take this in another tangent, but I'm only saying there is a certain measure of mental confusion. And Dr. King, your work is cut out for you. You're going to start with some people and end up with other people psychologically, schizophrenically. You're going to have to deal with it. I hope you have medication enough up there and counselors enough. God bless you. We're praying for you. But you hit it right. And I think this is an amazing conversation, and I like the way you drove it this morning.
But I think it is with everything that we say, as individuals, it starts and ends with us. So if we decide that we know, for example, I grew up on the principle of a man and woman, we understand, we go back to the Bible, and that is what we believe our foundation to be. In this year, you have to have a strong, and I'm going to go back to Dr. Chaitan's comment here, you must have a strong sense of self to make it through in this life. If you don't know who you are, then all the things that are going on will confuse you, and you often tend to think that you shift, you're a personality shifter now. You're moving from one to the other. You are too confused. Whenever we are there, then you could never make sound decisions. You could never be assertive. So first ask yourself, who am I? Who am I? Where am I going? What do I want? Then whenever it comes to individuals, then it will always be, it is then subjected to you. Who are you? What do you stand for? What do you believe in? And then take it from there. The minute you try to conform to all the craziness and the madness that's going on the outside, we would not have a place. Eventually, we would just be liquid, and then we'd just be taking the form of everything that we're placed in. That cannot be. I don't think that is not good at all for anybody's health. Dr. King, you can support that, and Dr. Chaitan, I'm sure.
Yes. So what you mentioned there about knowing your values, that is part of coping skills, because traumas and difficulties in life can cause negative emotions. Well, maybe I shouldn't say negative, but emotions and patterns of thinking to rise up within us that does not align with our values, who we are, who we want to be, who we want to show up as. So I think that that's a very good point. Knowing your values, knowing who you are is actually a part of coping skills, so that when the trials come and, when somebody frets you, or, you think a situation is unfair and you're tempted to probably react in violence or to be unkind, or to destroy somebody else, that you remember, that is not who I am. I am a kind person. I believe in being forgiving. I believe in being loving. I believe in showing respect So having core values is a form of coping skills also. And I think that, building our growing children who have strong values would help them to cope later on with the different challenges they would encounter in the society, in the school, in the workplace. They would have a base to come back to. Who am I? And what are the things that I want to represent out of my life?
Triton?
Yeah, you know what? As we explore this topic, it almost feels hopeless because when you look at the slide, the gender slide that Pastor Kins Douglas just graphically described, could be frightening. What do? Do we move our moral boundaries to accommodate? I want to bring some good news, and the good news is that I am involved, as Pastor Kins Douglas know. My role is psychoeducation. That's what I do, right? I go to the meat of the matter. I'm very, very strong. I think one of my gifts that God gave me is curbside connections. I just came from St. Lucia, and the commissioner of police actually said that, Dr. Triton, you go where the devil is scared to go, right? Because we go there. It is amazing that these young men that blow marijuana smoke in your face as you talk to them, if you are tolerant and be able to connect with these guys and give them the information that they never got from their daddy, never got, to stop with the church. It's amazing. My dear sister and brothers, listen. Dennery, St. Lucia, in a fishing village, where the fishermen bring the boats in and curse bad words and all kind of stuff. I went in there. We talked to them. We started a session on the block. Grenada, let me tell you this. We graduated 400 people from 6 communities across. Because you know what? The numbers just keep growing. Because they hear, listen, Pastor Kins Douglas, when truth is mentioned, no matter how vile people are, truth hits home to the heart. And when I spoke truth to these guys about who they really are and what future they could have if we curb these issues right now, the numbers exploded. I started with 12, I ended with 52, right? Exploded. I believe there is a hunger for truth and information. And if we get scared by popular theories, I call them theories, right? Oh, there. You know what? He's going to shut us up. He's going to shut us up. But if we believe and we look at the foundations and we address them, young people outside there, they're hungering for what they haven't got. So let's keep on doing what we're doing.
Douglas? Yeah. Pastor Kins Douglas?
Yes, I just want to endorse what has been said by your other guests here. And basically, I trust that coming out of this, we would see the need for male models, for molding in the home, and to mothers who are not living with the fathers, please allow them to be exposed, allow them to spend time. A lot of times they prohibit that. Please allow that so some molding and some modeling can happen. And thirdly, what we need is for our current set of males to learn what it is to be a man and to mature. You might have to produce what was not given to you. Mm-hmm. But this is the time to add value to your personhood and bring to the table and to your generation what wasn't even given to you. And so to be the quality male that I believe this country needs right now.
Yes, I truly believe. Dr. Triton, I want to give you a final word. We're just about out of time, but the conversation is hard to cut.
Yeah, Ms. Cosby, quickly, I wrote an article called A Spotlight to Illuminate the Way of Men in Grenada. And this may be a little controversial, but I'm going to end on it. The European Union funded a program here in Grenada called the Spotlight Initiative, where they were trying to deal with sexual abuse and violence against our women and girls. A significant amount of money was put into that program to the tune of 6 million euros. I attended some of these meetings, and the truth about it, I have not seen any dedicated program. How do you deal with the abuse on women and not deal with programs that would change or re-educate and rewire the thinking of men? All the money was towards empowering women, and which is great. We need to do that. But we also need to take a look at how our men are raised and put programs in place, parenting programs for teenage mothers that don't know anything about parenting, right? Put that in, but the church plays a role, the school, the PTAs, they play a role. Because I am totally convinced that if we go back there to the roots and mitigate the root and medicate the root, that's a better word, we could see a difference.
I agree. Dr. King, I want to know, give you an opportunity to wrap up, share your contribution as to how we can help our men continue to cope so that we have less relapses as women, as society, as family. We all have a role to play in ensuring that everybody in our home remains healthy.
I think that we need to encourage men, and we need to empower them and really show them their role in the home and in the society. As we have said, that many men grow up in single parents' home, so they do not see they don't have strong leadership in the home, they don't see it in the schools. But, you know, we don't have to experience something to experience it. You know, we can learn by the experiences of others. So we need to teach men about what their role is. I love documentaries. I used to look at this documentary series called Days That Changed the World. And almost all of those series, it was about the men, the role of men in changing the world. And I believe that if our men understand the importance of their role to direct the home, to direct the society, to direct the country, and indeed the entire globe, that they would put their chest up and they would be more dedicated to learning the skills and necessary for them to play their role effectively. So we need to encourage men.
Right, great. I fully support. Pastor Kings Douglas, you have the final word. As we know how critical it is in the home, we go back to you and then we conclude this morning.
Well, all I could say is that I hope the men that will come out to the Hello Dad convention will benefit from that. We would receive enough content and information to take it back to our homes and at least start a revolution, start a transformation that is going to filter down to our homes and be a blessing to our women and children and men and the next generation of fathers and dads that this country badly needs at this time. Thank you for having me today.
It was a pleasure. I really enjoyed this conversation this morning. I think it is time that we have these conversations, what we consider to be the taboo conversations. We realize that these so-called taboo topics are destroying us. But if we are going to dispel myths, all the things that we have out there and the issues that we must address them, and let's have those unfiltered conversations. Say it as we see it, but more so, it will ignite a discussion in the minds of the people who need to hear it. Because this is not just men in crisis. This is our society in crisis. If our men are in crisis, then it means our entire society is in crisis. And I think that is what we see now. Yeah? There's no winners in this. All we have here are people that need to take action so that we change this. And I think we need to continue these conversations. I'm happy that the conference is happening. I want us to continue these conversations so that we can inspire our men, so that they understand their role. But not just our men, but also we women need to know that we have to appreciate, applaud, pamper, and show our men the same things that we expect of them, that we also give it to them, because we are all humans. And our children see it, then it means that our daughters will treat their future husbands better. Our sons will treat their wives better. And it starts in their classrooms. The respect starts in the classrooms. They go to school, the children, they meet on the playground, they meet outside. Then we recognize that respect And I don't care what changes in our life, the fundamental principles that our parents teach us, respect, courtesy, caring, loving, they will never depart, no matter what happens and changes in this lifetime. We remain humans, and we are here for a while, but I think we are all here on purpose, and we need to understand what our purpose is and play our part in it. But I think we are on course to helping our men. Let's not stop. It may seem as though we're not getting to as much as we wish, but one at a time, one day at a time, and I'm sure the revolution will start bearing fruits. So to all my guests this morning, Dr. Chaitan, Dr. King, Pastor Keynes Douglas, it was a pleasure. I really enjoyed this conversation because we need to have it.
God bless.
You're most welcome. You're most welcome. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
So that is our program for today. I think it is time. I really do welcome this conversation this morning. And we all need to understand our place here. Understand our place here. I am not, yes, I am a woman, but there's no way I am going to sit here and say that we don't have a part to play. We need to fight for something. We need to fight. And it is time we women fight for our men. We have to. And when I say fight for our men, I'm not speaking about going on the street and fighting for our men. If we recognize our men realize that, yes, it seems as though somebody loves me, yeah? Somebody's putting up a fight for me. I was listening to a comment on one of the TikTok videos where you said that a man is looking for his mother in a relationship, but his mother will fight for him. It had to do with that of his mother and his wife and who fights for what. As a woman, we have quite a critical and powerful role to play, but we have to fight for our men, or else we will not have a society. Women bore children, and I would say that our men are the ones. If we don't have the two gametes meeting, then we don't have a product. We have to stand up for each other. We must stand up for each other. And as women, we need to fight for our men. It is time. Show them, speak to them about us, share with them, encourage them to speak. Our men are not rocks. Yes, physically they should be the stronger gender, but women, emotionally, we are the ones that are stronger. How do we then feed, complement that which they don't have, so that at the end of the day, we have super beings? We were not meant to be islands. That's the reason why none of us have all of it in us. No matter how strong and independent we think we are, when we lie at night in our homes, we are very lonely, and that is when we women can become very angry and bitter. Is that helping our society? No, it's not. We are feeding it to our children, and we are feeding it in our workplaces, and we are fueling other women, and we are making more and more monsters instead of us fixing the problem. Let us take action that brings about positive results. It's not just about us anymore. The selfishness needs to stop. It is time for us to become selfless in helping each other. We have a purpose, and our purpose is to help. It is to help, and it is our humanitarian responsibility. Let us help our men. As we prepare to say Happy Father's Day, let our fathers be the focus. Not just Father's Day, but we recognize that our men need help. Let us help our men. Let us help our men. We don't use their weakness to exploit them, but we should identify the weakness and work with them on how to build on it. That is the reason why men and women, that's the two genders that God created. Let us play our part. Let us do what we need to do. And remember, to everything that you see now, there's always a root cause. There is always a root cause. Go back to the root cause. I often say a man is a man's biggest enemy. As a woman, you see that. Identify it and help him. Because when we as women exploit our men, and they recognize that I might have trusted you, and this is what you did, with trust lost, then he becomes an angry, angry man that then will be just prepared to just destroy women. Are we helping him? No, we are not. No, we are not. Let's play our part. Let us take this one boldly, because our children are going down. We speak all the time about our boys. Somebody got killed on the weekend in River Sally. I am sure it was a stabbing that involved a man, a young boy again. We had a killing in Concord, a minor, a young man, entire life destroyed. He has a record, he's a murderer. What are we doing to stop this downward trend? We talk, me, not my business. It is your business. It is your business. A community raises. We are the ones that raise our children. You see somebody's child going down a path, you call the mother and you say, I see something I don't like, I think you need to have a conversation. The only problem is you may see it that way, but the parent of the child, no, you don't like my child. We are not making sense. We are not making sense. We all grew up in our community where when we realize that we might be going down the wrong path, that a neighbor, a godmother, somebody in the society, but no, I recognize Oslin is not. That has made us into who we are today. This helped us. Can our parents monitor us? Every single thing that we do? No. But what you recognize is the little things like that help us. It helps to keep us in line. Then you know that person is going to see me and they're going to tell mommy. But now that we have become this society where don't tell me anything about my child because you don't like him and you don't like her. Nonsense. That is the reason why the foolishness that we see happening is happening. And our children now, to them, all right, I know mommy's not listening, so I can get away with anything. We are not doing them a favor. We are destroying them. This is where we conclude for today. Thank you so much again to my guests, Dr. Chaitan, Dr. King, Pastor Gerald Keynes Douglas. It was a very interesting discussion today. And I think we need to continue it. Continue it at home. Continue with your boys. Ask them a question. Put them sit down. Have a conversation with your partner. Ask him a question. Hear what he has to say. And listen to his comments. Listen. We have to listen. Non-judgmental conversation and responses. You cannot judge somebody and expect them to tell you exactly how they feel when they recognize, no, you're judging me even before I speak. There are people out there that can help us. Always remember that. I always say that. One's mental health is critical. And when you lose it all. You realize you're not doing too well, things are changing. Ask somebody for help. Our professionals are there to help us. And for men, please. The therapists are there. Coping skills are critical. We know that you might not have born with it, but there are a way that you can acquire. Take the big step today, but you have to make that step yourself. Take the big step today and speak to someone. Help them to cope. But women, I think it's time for us to start fighting for our men. Not just keep giving up quickly and leaving. I know sometimes, yeah, our men can be quite a handful. But sometimes it can be a case where I just want to see what you would do. Would you just get up and leave? Or will you continue to fight? It might just be that little action they're looking for to see. Let's see where this goes. Let us do it. Let us help. Do all that we can to help our men today. Have a great day, everyone. Our sponsors, the audience, thank you so much. Always being here with us. Your suggestions, we hear them. We thank you for them. And continue to share them. Please continue to share them. It's almost the end of the month. Tomorrow is the last day in the month of May, and we're moving on to the 6th month of the year. The year is quickly going by. Each day that we have blessed with life, let us use it as another day to make us a better person. And remember, not just you becoming better, but inspire others. Inspire others. That responsibility we have. Tanya, thank you. Elton Sugars, the extended MTV family, thank you again for another successful program. Have a great day, everyone. Remember, Hello Dial Conference, June 10th, if you have not registered yet. Go onto the Facebook page of various social media platforms. Get involved. Go in there and start that conversation. The revolution starts today, but only if you take that first step. I'm Arcelyn Crosby, wishing everyone a fantastic day.
A natural disaster can change your life in minutes. Preparation is the best protection for your family and business. Prepare now. Create a disaster plan and make sure everyone knows what to do. Store water, non-perishable food, and medication. Remember basic emergency supplies such as batteries and flashlights. Trim overhanging trees. If trees near power lines are unsafe to trim, call Grenlec at 237 for assistance or advice. Install surge protectors to safeguard your electrical devices against outages and intermittent surges. Make sure your generator has an isolation switch. It will prevent power from feeding to our lines and electrocuting others. For more information, visit grenlec.com.
Grenlec, energizing our Grenada.
Promoters, here is a chance to boost your event or fete with MTV's irresistible television advertising specials. Book now and be wowed with party deals and good advertising coverage. Call our sales and marketing department on 440-8171 or via WhatsApp on 455-5718. You can also send an email at mtvmarketinggd@gmail.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Building resilience is the responsibility of us all. That means planning in the event of more frequent and intense storms. Introducing a new product called Flexible Hurricane Protection, FHP. FHP provides protection against tropical storms through to Category 5 hurricanes. If a storm covered by your policy impacts your island, you get a payout automatically. No assessors, no adjusters. Pick the amount of coverage you need. Use the funds however you want to cover lost income, replace damaged equipment or crops, rebuild your business, or carry out quick repairs to your home. Getting started is easy. Simply visit www.corpefinsurance.com to select the coverage that's right for you or choose an annual premium that fits your budget. Pay the annual premium at your credit union before 1st June. It's that simple. Make FHP a key part of your yearly hurricane plan.